My name is Jens, and today I will present a business case called a case study on how Vaillant Group Belgium helped its customers in the supply chain innovation. To give you a short overview, we have a short introduction about the Vaillant Group Belgium on its own, a concrete problem statement, the selection process on our digital innovation part, the setup, how to search for customers, the learning process, a short implementation, how we did it. I also have today a special guest for you, and then we will shorten it up with key takeaways, the learnings, and how we as Vaillant Group see the future. To give you a short introduction about the Vaillant Group Belgium, we have a general vision or statement to take care of a better climate inside each and every home around the world and the world around it. Vaillant Group is consisting out of two brands, we call it, the green brand and the red brand. The green brand is represented by Vaillant itself, and the red brand is all different brands, but that are actually all the same, but have a different naming in each of the countries. So for example, you have the Saunier Duval brand that is available in France. You have the Bulex brand, which is available in Belgium. You have the Protherm, which is available in the UK. You have Demir Dokum, who is in Turkey available. But in the end, it's all one brand, a red brand or a green brand. In total, Vaillant Group is available in 20 countries, so present in 20 countries, but we do businesses in more than 60 countries. And you can see in the total overview that sometimes it's only the Vaillant brand, sometimes it is the red brand, and sometimes it's a combination of both. To give you quite some numbers about the Vaillant Group itself, we are the #1 market leader when we are talking about the gas heating. Nowadays, gas is less important and it's more changing to renewable energy, so that is something we are also focusing on. We are 100% family owned. In total, we have a turnover of 2.7 billion euro. It's a B, not an M, so billion. And that's something that we are quite proud of. And in total, worldwide, a full network of installers of 340,000 installers. The Vaillant Group Belgium represents two brands, as mentioned, always a green and a red brand. The green brand Vaillant and the red brand Bulex. Here in Belgium, the #1 in heating. More than 50% market share at the moment, with a total revenue of 200 million euro. We have 220 service engineers on the road every day. You might see them in their service vans, who are doing 240,000 interventions a year. Our main customers are wholesalers and installers, which place today around 65,000 orders a year, with approximately 170,000 order lines each year. To go quick, my name is Jens Haeck. I'm part of the Vaillant Group Belgium since 2018. Started as a sales support manager, what most of you might call the after sales department, and currently in a role of business developing for forecast to stock as well as order to cash. Programs being used in Belgium are the normal SAP GUI, so the graphic user interface, as well as the Salesforce part. And just for your knowledge, I myself have a master's degree in economics and no IT background. I find it really important to state that, so that you guys can see the transition digitally can happen by anyone, even without IT knowledge. To give you a short introduction about the problem statement, in 2017, just a year before I arrived at Vaillant Group Belgium, the after-sales department had in total 10 people who were taking in the orders. The order entry was a fully manual process. So the customer sends us an email with their order in Excel, in PDF, and someone needs to type it over. To give you an indication, on the SAP environment, you see here, we need to fill in all the things of our wholesalers, so the address, etc. But next to that, we also need to fill in all the article numbers, all the quantities, and even if needed, adaptation of the delivery dates. As I told you before, in 2017 there were 40,000 orders consisting of 120,000 order lines, and someone needs to fill it in manually. And this is very time consuming. So the first question we asked ourselves is, how can we improve the process? How can we make sure that this goes smoother? And the big question that we had there was, how can we reduce the manual order entry? Vaillant Group is part of an industry of heating where the automation is not as usual as, for example, in the big pharma or in different kinds of industries. And we see here that it's very hard to know where do we want to go. And in the end, there were two possibilities. We could go for the optical character recognition and the OCR software on the one hand, or on the other hand, an EDI setup. And like I think most of you guys do, if you do not have the knowledge, we look around and we see what is possible in other industries and we make a list, a pros and cons list. Everyone does it from time to time. And then we see what are the advantages or disadvantages of each of the software packages. And for us, the most important thing that we want to see is how can we move fast forward? How can we improve automation without the big cost? And that's why in first instance we said, let's focus on the OCR software, because there the IT setup is less heavy on the customer side, and it's only at Vaillant Group side that the big cost will be. But also for implementation, it's much easier. You only need an API connection, there's no cost on the customer side, so you can move really fast forward. But in the end, it's not a win for our customers. And we wanted to bring something back to our customers, not only improve our process, but on the same time, improve the customer's processes as well. And that's where the EDI plays a very important and big role. Because if we see at the different stages of EDI, the upside of it is that we can make it easier for the customer to get updates. Nowadays, with EDI, you get the updates on the delivery dates, you get more and faster information than on the OCR software. And in the end, there is a downside. You need to pay for it. Both companies need to set it up, they need to be connected to each other. But in the end, it's a big win for both, because we, for Vaillant Group, have very fast way of transferring the orders into our system. So the process time is very small, which also helps our customers. And next to that, the customer can faster see the information, more accurate, and has a more efficient way of working. So that's why we decided, in Belgium at least, to go with a provider for OCR for the smaller companies, that we say, okay, at least we have some sorts of automation in place, and that we see that a software places the order instead of filling it in manually. All the info is being read from one document and placed into the document of SAP setup. And that is a very good solution, but it's only a solution at Vaillant Group side and not for our customers. So we said, for our biggest customers, let's find out, can we help them in also transitioning? Because all of our customers were not working with EDI. So first of all, Vaillant Group Belgium needed to find a partner on the EDI part. We did quite some market studies, we evaluated all partners, and in the end, we came to the conclusion that for us, SEEBURGER is the perfect partner. Because they're an international partner, as Vaillant Group is an international business, it's quite important that this strategy can be implemented also in other countries. They have extended knowledge on the SAP GUI system as well as on the S4 environment. They're reliable and trustworthy partner. They have a full management skill that they can provide to their customers. And those things in the end made the decision, let's go to Vaillant themselves. It's Vaillant and SEEBURGER working together. If we then see that we talked to SEEBURGER, and SEEBURGER said, okay, it's quite important before starting off, what are your priorities as Vaillant Group? And for us it was like a normal question, and we know what it is. The big win is in orders and order responses. For us, all the rest is a side product. But in the end, the side product for us, the advanced shipping notification and the invoices, is the main win for our wholesalers. That's why we decided on a strategy where we say we want to implement order and order response as fast as possible, because there's the big win for Vaillant Group. But we will give the commitment to our customers that we will fully implement the advanced shipping notification as well as the invoices, because there is the big win for our wholesalers. After we decided that strategy, it's important to know with who do we start. So we looked at our top 5 customers. The biggest one of all, most of you know them. We have Van Oorschot, Vaillant, the STG group consisting of Lambrechts, Sachs and Schrouwen, Desco and Van Marke. But no one of them was starting with EDI or thinking about EDI. So we set up some of the calls, we had some meetings, and in the end we explained our vision. And there was one partner who said, we are also investigating that part. Because normally for an EDI setup, the customer is the one who asks it and the supplier is saying, okay, let's do it. For Vaillant, it was the other way around. We are the supplier and we are asking our customer, please join us in this story because it's a win-win for both of them. And after quite some talks, we found out that Van Oorschot was the one who said, yeah, let's do it together and we can start the journey together. And then the next question arose, where do we start? For us, it was all quite new. So we went to SEEBURGER and we said, SEEBURGER, please, what are the next steps? And they said, okay, to be successful, first you need a manual, a message implementation guide for each of your different partner mappings. You need a message implementation guide. But that is something that needs to be done on Van Oorschot's side. So Van Oorschot made the message implementation guides for orders and order responses. Afterwards also for the advanced shipping notification and the invoices. And then the next step was aligning. SEEBURGER from our side with the EDI provider of Van Oorschot. And then we thought, because it's all new to us, we thought, it will be very easy. We have some alignment meetings, we have probably 1 or 2 problems, we solve them, and we go live. Easy as that. Nothing of that happened. Because what happened in reality was that Vaillant Group business, for example myself, was talking to Van Oorschot to say this and this is what I need. Van Oorschot asked it to their EDI provider. Their EDI provider gave the feedback back to Van Oorschot. Van Oorschot told it to me. I told it to the consultant at SEEBURGER. It was really a mess. It was not a happy story. The first 2 months were really messy because no one knew what to do. There was so much communication. No one knew concretely, is this question asked to me? What do I need to do? Is it a technical question? Is it a business question? So in the end, everything was a little bit a mess because there were no clear responsibilities. So we went back to SEEBURGER and says, yeah, it's not flying the way we want. Can you help us out? And SEEBURGER said, yeah, we can provide you let's call it a project manager who manages the process and talks to all of the parties. Not only with their own consultants, but also to Vaillant Group Business, also to the EDI provider of Van Oorschot, directly to Van Oorschot. And when someone is in charge and telling you this you have to do, this you have to do, this question is meant to be for that person, it smoothens the process. And in the end, the communication went well, everyone took his responsibilities because there was ownership. And this ownership made sure that there was an increase in efficiency. Not the first 2 months, because we were all new to that, but in the end, the process is very smooth. That's why I want to show you this overview. We have, from the moment we started until now, even today, we still have alignment sessions on regular basis with SEEBURGER to define what are the next steps, who is going to do what, who is going to do what and when. And we see that the first 2 months, 2 months and a bit, we lost due to no alignment. And afterwards, we started with the orders and order responses. When we got clear guidance by SEEBURGER, you see the process itself, it took only, for the first customer, 3 months. For us, this was a big win. And then we said, for the orders and order response, at the go live, let's wait a month. Let's see how everything is turning before we start entering the next message, the advanced shipping notification. Because also here, for the order response, we were sending extra information to our customers. We were sending expected delivery dates. Because we want to give the customer as much information as possible. Not only, dear customer, we received your order, but also these are the items you ordered. This is the expected delivery date. If we don't know it, we put the date unknown. But this was a little bit of modification and took a little bit more time. Afterwards, we started the advanced shipping notification, which being triggered by the ATP, so the advanced... I lost the word, sorry. So the ATP was running for the scheduling, This also arose some of the questions because IT technical on SAP side, Vaillant Group was not able to provide updates, so we needed to implement a process where when a date is changing or a delivery is changed, that it gets also the information is being sent to our customers. So this was a little bit of modification from our side, a little bit of problems, but in the end, everything worked out. And it also took quite some time. The reason why I also put in the cooperation between Bulex and Van Marke, because Van Marke was our second wholesaler going live with the EDI process, is to show you guys that this is the new way of timing. So approximately 6 to 8 weeks to set up and develop a full message from scratch to go live. So partner mapping implemented, learned from the best practices with our wholesalers, asking the right questions at the right time. And then you see the whole flow becomes much, much shorter. And nowadays, I think we are around 6 weeks to implement a customer per message, and we almost do it simultaneously. So here you see order and order responses we do together, and afterwards we use a cascade effect. Nowadays, we start all of the messages together because we know how the process is running, we have the experience, and we help our customer with the whole flow. But as I showed you, we want to give you a whole picture today. Not only the happy part of, this is how it's going to be, it needs to be realistic. So I showed you what went wrong, how we, and especially SEEBURGER, fixed it. But it's also important for you guys to understand the process from a customer perspective. How did the customer see it? And that's why I also invited today a special guest, and that is Van Oorschot, the first customer who we went live with, to give you an idea how did they experience the journey that we had together. So I would like to welcome to the stage Antant, the manager responsible for the EDI setup for Van Oorschot.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Anne. I'm the purchase manager for Van Oorschot, and I've been as a purchase manager leading in our company for the setup of the EDI project. We are a Belgian wholesaler, family owned. We are delivering every heating solution, sanitary solutions and ventilation solutions to the installer. We are B2B directed, so we are not B2C company. At the moment, it's the second generation that is in charge, Sven Magielsen and Anne Van Oorschot, and it's the second generation that was responsible for the expansion of our company. We have at the moment 9 branches. We are opening 2 more branches this year in Flanders, and last year we had a new DC built in Herentals. So a short brief explanation from who we are as a client of Vaillant. Of course, delivering heating solutions to the installers. Vaillant is an important partner for us, and it is together with Vaillant that we have been pioneering for us as a company and in our world of wholesalers in heating with EDI. So why did we choose to change our process to an EDI process? Because I was looking for a solution that the administration and the document exchange between our suppliers and ourselves would be as dynamic as our company, would be fast and would be accurate. And that's the main reason why we were, in the same time as Vaillant, investigating how can we change our process, how can we better the process at the moment. So we were looking for speed, not only speed in exchanging documents, because we were still receiving a lot of documents, not only by email, but also by mail. We were looking for the lead time of the processing, accuracy, and we were also looking for order line recognition. So that was an important reason why we've been orientated to EDI. So before EDI, we sent all our orders by mail in PDF, and you have to take in count that we had last year a little less more than 40,000 orders to our suppliers. We got order confirmations always by PDF in mail by our suppliers, so we had to transcript them to Navision, our ERP system, with the promised delivery date, but also check the prices, etc. And the issue there was that sometimes the order confirmation was processed too slow to be able to react to the supplier that they confirmed the wrong product. So we were missing the right links between ourselves and our suppliers. The advanced shipping notification, we didn't receive it before the delivery of the goods, so we couldn't prepare our receiving as lean as we would like to prepare it. And then the invoices, we got it still by mail or PDF, and we already had, I think implemented in 2017, one of the first OCR processes, but it only gave us the recognition on some key fields. So we couldn't get any recognition on line field. So what could EDI give us is a faster document exchange, and we could also give something back to our suppliers because they could process our orders faster and with less errors. Then for the order confirmation, we could only focus on the problems, and we could process them all before delivery took place, and we still had time to react to our suppliers, to warn them if there was an error, if there was a problem with the order confirmation. And all the teams at the supplier, but also at Van Oorschot, have the possibility to change and to adapt until the situation is cleared. And also we saw, once we started with the order confirmation by EDI, that we had less problems with the invoices. The mistakes that could appear on an invoice were already captured by the order confirmation. So that's a win for us, but it's also a win for the supplier. Less credit notes to make, etc. The receiving, we didn't had our documents before receiving when we didn't work with EDI, and now with the EDI process we can better plan the receiving and also better prepare the receiving so that the goods are allocated to the right order. We started with orders and order confirmation. For us it was really important that both came together. We also were a little scared that if we send our orders and our suppliers don't engage themselves to send the order confirmations, that it wouldn't become a win-win. And then we choose to make the second step as the ASN documents for the receiving, and also because we were implementing a new warehouse where the receiving process was changed, and then we started as the last phase for the invoices. As a purchase manager, I regret we didn't do the invoices first, but in the logical chain of the documents, you need to go the way order confirmation, delivery notes, and then only the invoices. At the moment, we have 2/3 of our suppliers that are on EDI, and we still are working to get everyone on board. It's a bit, together with Vaillant, we had a little bit the same timing and the same process of implementing, but we see in our world of heating and in our industry, EDI isn't implemented with all the producers. So the battle that Jens is having with the wholesalers, I'm having the same battle with our suppliers to get everybody on EDI. I just wanted to give you some important themes as a wholesaler and as a client from the supplier. I think data. If the data you share isn't accurate to the point, EDI will not give you the win you are searching for, because if you don't get your prices well aligned, if you don't have Recupel, if you don't have BEBAT, if you don't have your GTINs right, computer says no. And the technical team can't solve your data problems you have with your suppliers. So that's a very important thing to think about before you start with EDI. You have to get your data together with your supplier right. Then I think planning and availability is very important. you need to get your planning worked out together with your suppliers. You have to share the same vision on EDI, on how the process can be a win-win for both companies. And you really need to get the capacity for IT internally or with an external company, and testing capacity with your team as a user. So that's very important to make EDI a successful process. But I'm very convinced in the success of the EDI tool. You see, we have only one person in our team that is treating all the invoices we get, and it's thanks to EDI that we still manage to keep the team lean and mean. We can process more than 50,000 invoices with one team member. So I think that's what EDI can do for you.
Thank you. For short, we will also have a short overview of the key takeaways or learnings we had in the process. So it's made a joint slide between Vaillant Group Belgium as well as Van Oorschot to give you the things where you need to pay attention on. Some of the things is already what Anne said, and it is the alignment of resources is key in a big process like this. And when we talk about resources, the main thing you have to do is align the people and align their calendars. Check the availabilities, put in certain slots that you say this is the date when we will test it, this is the date when we will have a user acceptance test, a sit, and not do it on the fly. Time management is really key here, and you need to define the responsibilities per message. For orders, this is the person who will be responsible for the business part. This person will be responsible for the IT part, because sometimes the question lies in between IT and business, and everyone is looking at each other and nothing is happening. So that's really important to do that. Next, the terms and conditions are also important to define. Your message implementation guide needs to define which fields are mandatory, which ones are required but less important, and which ones are optional. Because if you have an issue and it's on an optional field, why waste any time on it if it's just optional? Leave it out. But on the other hand, you also need to know your technical limitations. How can we bypass some of the issues? Because EDI will work for 98% of the cases very nice, but it's the last 2% that is the hardest, especially then what to do with exceptions. If, like Anne said, your material master data, like at Vaillant Group, is not 100% on top and not 100% perfect, you need to know how are we going to deal with those exceptions. For us, for example, the bill of material is a structured number, and it gives quite some issues because all of the articles are coming from different plants and are put together into a new article. And this is where EDI is struggling, and we need to clearly define how are we going to deal with it. And it took us 2 weeks to identify it, but now we know this is the way we are dealing with bill of materials, and this is the message we are giving to our wholesalers, that at least they know if you have an article like this problem may occur and you can solve it like that. That's the support we are giving to our wholesalers. Also, another example, the deviations on Recupel and Bebat. Our SAP system is configured in a way that it only takes 2 digits after the comma, while Bebat is and Recupel also has 3 digits behind the comma. So that means that on the invoice part, there are deviations between what we are sending to our wholesaler and what the wholesaler has in their system. So that's also something to pay attention on. And it's those small little things that really struggles the process and that you need to identify up front, and that takes learning, but that you need to identify and take some time for it, especially with your first customers. And that's why we put in it. The key message here is please pay attention to the details, because the devil's in the details, and although 98% might be going great, you lose a lot of time with the last 2%. How do we concretely help our customers with their innovation? We share our best practices, and we even share our EDI provider. Some customers are not ready for EDI, but they are starting or taking their first steps. And then we set up an alignment meeting with SEEBURGER. And the easiest way for us to convince a wholesaler nowadays is just to state what we saw, how we solved it, and that SEEBURGER helped with it. And in the end, a lot of our customers are now also using SEEBURGER as their EDI partner. And that smoothens the process, because then you only have one EDI provider instead of two. So we share the knowledge, we share the EDI provider, we make a timing, we reduce the order process time to fasten up the process, to help customers get a really big win. And in the end, it's all about information. It needs to be efficient, it needs to be faster, it needs to be more accurate. And that is the key thing we want to give to our customers. If you are thinking about it, the time is now. Everyone needs more accurate info on deliveries. Everyone needs to have a smoother process for invoicing and reduce the workload on their department. But in the end, it always has to be a win on both parties. My last slide is just a little bit of background information. We as Vaillant Group are now redesigning our process. We are currently on the SAP GUI, and we are changing that environment to the cloud. Everyone will go in the end to the cloud, or will have a cloud solution. And there we find that SEEBURGER is a really nice partner to set this up. Because for us, it's also, again, all new, and they are helping with the transition from the old SAP into the new world. They provide a coordination with our main office in Germany. They are setting up the new API connections. They are modifying the mapping, because some of the mappings or partner mappings need to be adjusted. And they are doing the testing with our customers without anyone from business being there to oversee the process. If there are questions, they involve us, but they know what we want because of the 2 years we are already in bed together, and they know what we want. In the end, we align the questions, and that smoothens up the process. So 4 to 6 weeks from now, they will set up a full process where SAP S/4HANA will be set up instead of the new environment. And this is a process I think we should all go through in the end, where we can trust an EDI provider to take care of the IT part, to really understand your business, and to share all of the best practices with our customers. So thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.